Welcome to the Burnout Recovery Podcast, a guiding resource dedicated to healthcare professionals on their journey to overcoming burnout. Spearheaded by Dr. Joe Braid, a certified professional coach and rehabilitation physician.
You are listening to the Burnout Recovery Podcast, episode 118. Great to have you back here. It's lovely to be recording a few more episodes for the remainder of February. I've had some recent in-person presentations last week. I was invited to speak at the Business New South Wales, Western New South Wales Business Leaders event around leading with vision. And after a fairly tech-heavy future economics series of talks, I talked about the humans in the room and all about emotional fitness. Really well received by the audience and a lot of fun to deliver. I also spoke to a room full of speech pathologists the next day around protecting the asset. So speaking is definitely something I do. Reach out via email if you would like me to speak to your workplace. Getting on to what we're talking about today, I'm talking about something that doesn't necessarily get enough attention, specifically managing burnout recovery during the summer months. So we're still in summer here in Australia in February, and when the mercury rises, recovery can feel even more challenging. But there are ways that you can use this season to your advantage during your recovery phases. So, for example, a really hot summer day can make everything feel more intense. What do you reckon? That's what happens with burnout symptoms during those summer months. The heat itself doesn't cause burnout, but it can certainly amplify those feelings of exhaustion and overwhelm. So today I've got some tips on how to stay cool, both literally and metaphorically, while navigating your burnout recovery journey. So let's start with talking about the body's stress response. Heat actually triggers many of the same physiological responses as stress does. Increased heart rate, sweating, and potentially that feeling of being overwhelmed. And so when we have a stress response like that from heat, for example, we go to seek shade, we go to seek a cooler place. When you're already dealing with burnout, this extra physical stress from heat can feel like too much to handle. Understanding this connection gives us powerful tools for intervention. So let's start off by talking about your body's natural rhythms during the summer months. So in Australia, we're blessed, or sometimes cursed, with long, bright days. And instead of fighting against the heat, try embracing a sort of summer split schedule. This means planning your most demanding activities for the cooler parts of the day, early morning or evening. And thinking about our ancestors for a moment, they would have naturally adapted their activity levels to the sun's rhythm. In the hottest parts of the day, they'd seek shade and rest. And there's really profound wisdom in this approach, especially when you're recovering from burnout. So here's how the summer split schedule might look. Early morning, do some gentle movement, meditation, or important tasks. Midday, do quieter, cool indoor activities. Late afternoon, rest or gentle water-based recovery. And evening, time for social connections or outdoor activities as it cools down. Now, this might not be your 7-day-a-week routine. I certainly don't have social connections 7 days a week. And I also wouldn't say that I necessarily have a tailored rest period 7 days a week as well. I like my weekends to always include an afternoon rest period where possible on the Saturday and Sunday. But this is just a general idea of what you could be including in your summer split schedule. Secondly, I want to talk about water as a recovery tool. There's different ways we can use water, especially in the summer months, and it's a really powerful tool for burnout recovery. Here's two different ways. There's firstly immersion and secondly hydration. So whether it's ocean swimming, a dip in a pool, or even a cold shower, water can literally reset your nervous system. When we have the pressure of water on our body, it triggers our diving reflex, which naturally slows your heart rate and calms your nervous system. Secondly, there's hydration. So when you're burned out, you're often running on stress hormones, which can be dehydrating in themselves. Add some summer heat to that, and staying hydrated becomes even more crucial. And you could always choose to infuse your water with cooling herbs like mint or cucumber. Now let's talk about that social life thing, the social pressure of summer. It seems like everyone's having an amazing time at the beach, attending barbecues, and making the most of the season. And when you're recovering from burnout, this can trigger a particular kind of FOMO, or fear of missing out. So burnout recovery certainly isn't about complete isolation. It's about making those conscious choices. So instead of a crowded beach day, you opt for a sunset walk with one close friend. Instead of a full day barbecue, you drop by for a specific time period. It's really about finding your sweet spot between connection and preservation. Last night, I had a beautiful evening walk with my middle son and the dog, and we just went around the block. It was sunset. It was so nice. We were not in a rush, and it was just a great time to have a chat before wrapping up for the weekend. So here's a powerful summer recovery practice you might like to use. It's generally named the cooling cascade, and a sequence of actions that can help when you're feeling overwhelmed by heat and burnout. Firstly, find a cool space. Create one room or area in your home that's consistently cool. Practice cold therapy and use cold compresses on your pulse points. Thirdly, adjust your timing. So shift your outdoor activities to cooler hours of the day. Then use sensory cooling. So incorporate cooling scents like peppermint or eucalyptus. Fifth, practice hot mind, cool response. When your stress rises with the temperature, pause and use slow breathing. And here's a couple of breathing exercises you might like to try. So there's box breathing, which is breathing in for a count of 4, holding for a count of 4, breathing out for a count of 4, and holding for a count of 4. And if you do 3 to 5 cycles of that, that's really quite calming in itself. And secondly, there's a different one, which is breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 7, and then a really slow exhale for a count of 8. So summer sleep deserves a special mention here. I have got a podcast episode coming up this month, which is all about sleep, but it's not specific to summertime. And really, I've had certainly plenty of patients in my clinical work who said, my sleep just hasn't been so good because of the heat. So sleep is really crucial for burnout recovery, and I will expand on that in a few weeks' time. Here's some suggestions for you to have a better night's sleep. Using natural fiber bedding, consider a cooling pillow, create cross ventilation in your bedroom. You could take a lukewarm shower before bed and use some fans to create some air movement. So summer will pass, but the recovery skills you develop now will serve you in every season. Use this time to tune into your body's needs and honor them. Before we wrap up, I've got a small mini summer recovery challenge. Each day this week, find one way to work with the heat rather than against it. Maybe it's shifting your schedule. Maybe it's discovering a new water-based recovery practice. Or maybe it's simply giving yourself permission to slow down when the sun is high. Until next time, stay cool, stay gentle with yourself, and remember, recovery has its own season, and that might just be the season that you're in right now. Thanks for listening. I'll catch up with you again Wednesday next week. Thanks for listening to this episode. Schedule a free discovery call if you want to learn how I can help you. Dive right in with my 60-minute burnout strategy session, or experience Program Vitality, my tailored one-on-one burnout recovery program. All information is available at drjobraid.com with links in the show notes.